Hey, Jagger, today's big story comes from Politico just this morning, and it concerns Trump's recent revelation that could profoundly hurt millions of Americans right after the first of the year. As promised all along the campaign trail, and as echoed by every loyalist and lickspittle near a microphone, the Trump administration will waste no time in undoing, upending, and dismantling anything that pretty well smacks of Biden or Obama or democratic social progress. And this includes today's featured story, brought to us by the new administration, and it is the latest in a long succession of promises to nullify and countermand any policy that would seem to aid the American public or advance a government of decency. And you might say that we've seen today's story coming, certainly from the drumbeats echoed over the summer. Let's remember what those sounded like.
We will strengthen our military, build a missile defense shield, keep critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our schools, and keep men out of women's sports. And I'm hereby calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement officer.
Since Trump entered politics, he's attacked immigrants, Muslims, Haitians, Democrats, basically anyone who isn't 100% down with MAGA. But there is one group he seems to despise above all: journalists.
They're the enemy of the people. They are. They're the enemy of the... I've been asked not to say it. I don't want to say it. They're the enemy of the people. And someday they're not going to be the enemy of the people, I hope.
We begin in the United States, where President-elect Donald Trump is planning on signing an executive order that would remove all transgender members from the U.S. military.
I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. You know, 1798. That's when they ran the country a little tougher than we run it today. Today you get a little slap in the wrist when you kill somebody. You kill somebody. Oh.
Donald Trump wants to reverse Joe Biden's policies on climate change.
I will stop Biden's wasteful spending and rapidly terminate the Green New Scam, which is a total scam.
You are promising America tonight you would never abuse power as retribution against anybody.
Except for day one.
Except
Look,
for?
he's going crazy. Except for day one.
Meaning?
I want to close the border, and I want to drill.
That's
drill,
not. That's
drill.
That's not.
No, no.
That's not retribution.
I'm going to be. You know, he keeps. We love this guy. He says, "You're not going to be a dictator, are you?" I said, "No, no, no. Other than day one."
You may ask yourself, "Am I right? Am I wrong?" You may say to yourself, "My God, what have I done?"
Well, now, if you're one of those nice kids from RISD, well, you've probably done well enough in your career to pay back your student loans. But for the less funky and more financially beleaguered among us, today's story does not come as good news. According to Politico this morning, Trump team eyes quick rollback of Biden's student debt relief. The move would be the culmination of nearly 4 years of attacks by GOP lawmakers and attorneys general on Biden's student debt relief policies. President-elect Donald Trump is poised to pull the plug on President Joe Biden's years-long push to cancel student debt for tens of millions of people as Republicans sweep into power in the coming months. Trump transition team advisors and outside allies have been discussing ways to quickly unwind the various Biden-era initiatives that offered new or easier paths to loan forgiveness for borrowers. According to two people familiar with the discussions, the move would be the culmination of nearly 4 years of attacks by GOP lawmakers and attorney generals on Biden's student debt relief policies. On the campaign trail, Trump slammed the loan forgiveness efforts, which totaled hundreds of billions of dollars, as vile and illegal, yet his team faces a daunting challenge. A series of recent court decisions has left the federal government's $1.6 trillion student loan portfolio in disarray, with millions of borrowers stuck in limbo. Trump has nominated Linda McMahon, the former head of the Small Business Administration, to be Education Secretary. McMahon has been co-leading the presidential transition and chairs the American First Policy Institute, an outside group that has been preparing for a second term. The group has blasted Biden's loan policies as unlawful, counterproductive, and deeply unfair. Jonathan Pidluzny, who directs higher education issues at the AFPI is also working on student loan and educational issues for the transition, according to people familiar with the discussions. It's going to be insanely complicated, said Michael Brickman, who was a senior education department official during the first Trump administration. You really can't overstate the mess that this new administration is inheriting, Brickman, now an adjunct fellow at the American Enterprise Institute, said the Biden administration's misadventures around loan forgiveness that were repeatedly rejected by courts have created a really chaotic situation that's going to have to be fixed. Dismantling Biden's most sweeping plans for erasing debt is likely to be relatively straightforward, but other programs that affect millions of borrowers will be harder to undo. The Trump administration is expected to act quickly to stop defending some of those policies in court, where they are already under legal challenge from Republican attorneys general. The American people re-elected President Trump by a resounding margin, giving him a mandate to implement the promises that he made on the campaign trail. Caroline Leavitt, a Trump-Vance transition spokesperson, said in a statement, "He will deliver." Well, that's for sure, because really with nothing to stop him but his own moral compass. Oh, and the guidance of sober and sound advisors harboring no personal agenda other than public service. Well, what could possibly go wrong? Hey, stick around with us here at Occupy Democrats. Like, share, comment. We'll get through all of this day by day together, story by story, same as it ever was.